right, everybody. Thank you for jumping on with us for our Tri-State Trends podcast. I got my man, Andrew Claeys, who just helped me understand how to say Claeys. Like if I had two kids and they both wanted to play with clay, they'd say, can we play with Claeys? So I'm in, Andrew, and I appreciate you breaking that down for me. But it's awesome to have you. Imagine Financial. You guys are just coming out of the gates cold smoking. We were together probably less than 2 months ago and in New Jersey, and you were just getting rolling. That was the month of May. The month of May. You had just finished up April. So, dude, you came out in May. You helped 48 families, person on your own pen, which is crazy. And June, you're looking to smash another record. How does it feel, man?
It's fun. I'll tell you that. It's fun to win. Winning's fun.
That's for sure, man. So do me a favor, because not everybody knows your background. Tell us a little bit about your backdrop, where you're coming from, how you found FFL, and we'll jump right in.
Sure. Yeah. So I actually came from the car business. Got into that. That's where actually, even before that, I'll back up there. I was an event director for about 3 months. That was my first ever cold call sales type gig. Sat at the dining room table of my mentor crying after 3 months, not selling a single thing, saying, I don't think I can do this. This isn't going to work for me. This ain't for me. And it was actually my wife that was like, hey, I don't know why, but you should really try car sales. And I was like, no, that was like the last thing I wanted to do. Car sales, I was like, I don't want to be that guy that people walk away from at the party, because that's all they talk about is car sales. And so, and then that guy that I actually talked to, he was like, no, you can actually imagine it being like a server and this is your menu. Now you got your cars. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. Find out cars was actually really fun. Did it.
How long ago was that?
That was in 2019 is when I did that event directing for like 3 months and then got into car sales that later that fall. So
got it.
Yeah, so got in and then had a ton of fun, ton of success pretty early on. People knew me as Big Red. I was Big Red, the car guy. So actually, every time I sold a car, I used to put a little pack of Big Red gum in the car, a little 5-pack. And so that was my lasting legacy, baby. That's
Dude,
what I
is
would do
Big
there.
Red still available? Can you still buy Big Red gum?
Bro, I tried to get my face on the Big Red pack of gum. I called Wrigley, and I was like, Wrigley, put my face on this Big Red pack of gum that I was going to put my client's card. So it still exists. Amazon was a cool thing to me.
Got it.
Yeah. So did that, and then, had a ton of fun, ton of success, and then saw an opportunity. I honestly didn't plan to leave that. That was what I was going to do for the next 30 years, and saw just a faster vehicle to get where I wanted to go. So here we are.
Fantastic. Now, when you found life sales, kind of what intrigued you? What brought you in?
So it was actually my business partner, Greg. I'm sure you guys have met Greg or will meet Greg if you haven't. It was his wife that got into it. Her tenacity is honestly the whole reason that Imagine even exists. Let's be real. So she actually had got licensed in March, got beat up in home, took the summer off, and then said, you know what? I'm going to try this again after completely not getting demolished in person. Started it last October, and then just seeing her success so fast, it's like she was killing it in 2 months, never sold a thing. She was a nurse.
Wow.
One day, she was just keeping her license up. She's basically a stay-at-home mom, and in 2 months, did what I built in 4 years in the car business. So I'm like, how is that math don't add up. It just doesn't work. And so watched her success. Her and Greg have been very good friends of ours, my wife and I, for a while. So we saw that success. Convention came around. Greg came back from convention and he said, dude, this is where it's at. It's legit. And Greg had bigger plans in the car business than I did. He planned on owning a dealership and all that stuff.
Wow.
I just wanted to stay in sales. I was really happy where I was at and was doing well. So again, when he came back and said, this is real, this is what we need to check out, I believed him. I took him for it. So
that's crazy.
So it's his wife. The fact that his wife's tenacity to just get back out there and try it again. I told her, I was like, if it weren't for you, this wouldn't be a thing. So
she's my next podcast. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's crazy, bro. And I think when I say that, I'm talking more like the fact that he came back from convention, said this is where it's at, and like you're like, okay, well, let's roll. Now,
Yeah, again, it's his, because he wouldn't have done that. Like that was, he was happy where he's at. He just wouldn't have. So
it makes all the
yeah,
sense in the world. That's the credibility, right, of having good friends. And
yeah,
now
yeah.
you talk about your ability to go out there and just absolutely crush it. What did you see from? Obviously, you had to buy leads.
Mhm.
That's maybe a different concept. You had to, pound the phones. You're used to people coming in. When you were looking at the actual sales process slash um, acquiring customers with Family First Life, what did you see? Was it daunting? Was it easy? Was it simple? What did you see?
No, I'll be honest with you, Mark. It was very similar to what I did. So going back to, I didn't realize how much car sales was going to help me do this well. Because here's why. So I was adamant. So my wife and I got into the car business, and we knew the kind of hours it could take and the toll, because retail, right? And so I had made her a promise that I was like, hey, give me 3 years to build a business to where it's a self-generating machine where people will come in and they'll be on my time instead of me having to be on their time.
Got it.
Because I hated the fact of the car sales world where it was like, you're pounding the pavement, you're standing on the lot, waiting for somebody to come in. And if they want to come in 5 minutes before you're supposed to leave, you're there 3 hours after you're supposed to be on.
Got it.
Or I hated it. So I was like, let me create a system to where this is my book of business that comes back and sees me. And so by the time I had left the car business, I was selling 20 to 30 cars a month. Sometimes I'd hit 40. But I would tell you, I maybe all 1% of it was new business. It was all
Wow.
self-generated referrals. And so I was the guy that I was used to working on an island in the car business, because I'd sit back on my desk and literally just make phone calls all day.
Wow.
That's all I do. I just hit the phones all day, get people to come in. I'd get them to fill out the information before they came in the dealership. So that way it was just like it was a machine of just like,
Wow.
Okay, here's the car. Now
like
we're
that.
doing numbers. So really, I had no idea that was preparing me for pounding the phones here. So when I saw an opportunity that somebody said, hey, because that's what constantly on social media, I was like, I was posting stuff to say, I just want somebody to raise their hand to say they're interested in me talking about a car. That's all I want. I would post stuff of like, I would post a car online, and I would leave the price out, right? I would put the year and the miles, and the first thing they're going to ask is, what's the price?
Right, sure.
So now I knew this person's just raising their hand to say, I'm interested. I'm looking for a car.
Right.
So I would do stuff like, I call it my whack-a-mole strategy is what I call it. So I would leave one piece of information out. So when somebody came to me and said, hey, I'm going to give you an opportunity where 250 people are raising their hand saying, I want mortgage protection or life insurance, I was like, thank God. That's what without having to go out and resource it myself. Like, that's exactly what I want. So that was the big thing that really got me intrigued, because I didn't have to build my own business from the ground up like I did before.
I need people to understand this. I just do, because there's sharp people like you out there every single day looking for an opportunity. You're already successful, but
yeah,
you weren't even looking. But when you found something that was as interesting or better, you were a candidate.
Yeah.
Was your resume on Indeed?
No, not at all.
Was your resume on LinkedIn? Was your resume anywhere?
No.
How could would have there been another way for you to have found this opportunity outside of Greg saying, "Hey, bud, this is the deal"?
I don't think so. I mean, I just don't. Like, unless somebody else I trust, which I'll tell you is very few, it's very few, would have come and told me the same thing. And no, I don't
How
think it
important is warm market? When I did all that to get to this, how important was it for Greg to say, "Hey, bud, this is it"?
Oh, trust is everything. Trust is everything. That's why going back to the car business, that's why I did what I did and created the system I did, was because people will wait for you, and they'll work I had people that it's crazy. I had people that when I told them I left the car business, they literally told me, they're like, all right, I won't ever buy another car again. And I was like, no, that's not the answer. I said, I've got you. They're like, no, seriously. Like, I've got a car that's got 20,000 miles on it. I could probably have this car for the next 20 years. Like, I don't want to work with anybody else. And that was just the power of trust and relationship. And yeah, I mean, it's everything. So
That's crazy. Now you're paying it forward, bringing in some of your friends and people you know.
that is the whole motto of why Imagine exists, is because we knew that this opportunity was so stinking cool. We would be 100% selfish if we just kept it to ourselves.
God bless. I love it. Let's talk about your
Yeah.
sales setup. How are you set up week in and week out? What is it that you're doing to have the success you're having as early as you're having it? How do you
Yeah.
approach the week?
Well, I'll tell you this. I think I've heard other successful people in this business say the same thing. I think I'm just out. I'm buying my way to the top. I just am.
Right.
I'm buying my way to the top. Spending more money on leads than everybody. Um, for one, I think that's a part of it. I think I've got my hand in 5 or 6 different lead vendors right now, just trying things. And that's a part of it. And I'm telling all my agents, there's money in every sphere of leads. And so I'm trying to figure out what that looks like. You just have to know how to talk to people and how to meet them where they're at. And so I'm even trying like every sphere of leads. I'm trying 24-month leads. I'm trying final expense leads. I'm trying Facebook leads. I'm trying 6-month leads, because you just have to, it's the same. The structure of the script is the same. The bones of it are the same. It's just, again, they're 24 months out. Great. Now you have to meet them and let them know, hey, I understand you did this a long time ago. You probably may have even set up. Now it's just we're reviewing what you have. Want to make sure you're still in the best spot. A lot of things have changed since 2 years since you first got it. Cool. Let's set up a meeting to go over that. And so just meeting them where they're at in that lead category is big. I would say, so that I have tons, so I don't just stick to one type of lead. So there's always enough people to talk to, for one. So when that runs out, I might be in trouble, but we'll refer. Then we'll go back through all the leads, so it'll be good. So I would say that is one. I'm just not captive to that. And then I would tell you that and I don't say this arrogantly, but I would tell you I'm just grinding, just working hard. But what I try to do is because I have to have a balance with my wife. So I told her, I was like, hey, honey, instead of doing this, I know a lot of people tend to work 6-7 days in this business and run really hard. Why don't we just do this? I'm going to sprint for 3 days really hard. You probably won't see me much, but then I get to be home on Saturdays, where I didn't get to do that before in the car business. So I have my setup is I run from Tuesday through Thursday. I run appointments from like 7 a.m. or no, not from 7 a.m. I start dialing at 8, and then I start running at like 10 o'clock until sometimes I'm here till 10 o'clock at night.
Got it.
But then I get to be home on Saturday. Then I get to be home on Saturdays, and I try to be, I book maybe 1 or 2 Monday and Friday, but the bulk of my appointments are from Tuesday to Thursday, and I'm just sprinting and running, and I'd rather do it that way, so I get my weekends.
That's good. It's working.
Yep.
What does that look like? Are you dialing same day for appointments?
Some, yeah. I mean, depending. What I try to do. So Monday through Wednesday, I try to book next day or same day, right? So Monday I'm dialing for Tuesday. So I always do 8 to 10. I'll dial really hard, and I'll try to get all day next day set up. And then if I have to dial in the afternoon, I will, just to get the next day set up. But most of the time from 8 to 10, because that's what we found, man, as a power hour. People are just answering the phone from 8 to 10. They're answering. So I'll book them the next day, and then every morning I'm booking from 8 to 10. I'm booking for the next day, and then same day if I need to. And then so Thursday I don't dial because I don't run a ton on Friday. So I might be book a couple, but it's pretty much Monday through Wednesday I'm dialing for next day.
Got it. And that's all telesales.
Yeah, everything's telesales.
Are you Zooming at all, or is it all just?
I've done Zoom like here and there. I know that's something that's probably my next sphere to get into, is Zooming.
But as far as your ability to book and book up, you're booking up for a telesale.
Yeah, 100%.
And how many appointments are you typically book? What is your goal per day for those 3 days?
Yeah, 10 to 13.
10 to 13.
10 to 13. Because that gets me 30 to 30. So I try to run 35 to 40 appointments a week. And so really, if I can get 13 in, then Monday and Friday are slower. If I get 10, then I'm running a couple Monday, Friday. So
no big deal, though. I mean, Saturdays and Sundays you're off. Mondays and Wednesdays, Fridays are kind of flexy. Yep. So you're not working necessarily into the evening every night.
Right. Right.
You've got this potent time, and
Yep.
I like it a lot, man. It's working. You're issuing, you're helping 45 plus families a month.
Yeah.
No problem there. You're spreading the word through Warren Market the same way you were recruited.
Yep.
It's happening. It's
Yep.
blowing up. Dude, when you look at the next 6 months, and you look at, Imagine Financial and then everything you guys got going on,
Yeah.
what are you seeing?
Dude, I see an empire that we're building, which is fun. I mean, we're already, we are massive. We're trying to track our numbers. That's huge. I mean, I honestly, by the end of the year, I see us at 100 agents underneath us. I'd like to walk into convention with about 125 to 150 agents is what would be my goal. Which would be huge. And then, by the end of the year, Hall of Fame is definitely my goal. So that's why I'm running as hard as I am. So, and it's Hall of Fame's that's a byproduct of what will come, but really it's showing my guys like, hey, I'm in there with you. This sucks. It is what it is. We're here with you, and I'm gonna show you along the way what I'm learning. So,
love it, my guy. It's happening.
So
you have a new agent that's starting today. What would you tell him?
I would tell you that you need to. I would tell you every new agent needs to be willing to be coachable, be teachable, because I would tell you nobody knows this business until you're in it. You can't. Joe said it before. Joe said you can't pay for experience. You can't buy it as much as you want to. So just learning it and just going through it. So be coachable, be willing to train. That's number one. Because a lot of people, when they have sales background, myself included, I thought it was just like going to be way easier of a transition. To be honest with you, car sales, I almost had to reverse engineer my brain from highlighting the car to highlighting the pain points in this business, which was hard to do. At first, slow my tone down, talk about the pain points. So that was be coachable, be willing. And I would tell this to every new agent: freaking unmute. I hate the fact the agents will go 6 months and nobody's listened to them once of dialing or doing anything. And that just goes right back to being coachable. So I think that would be every new agent. It's like, hey, I tell them, all of them, like, hey, when we're on 2 days, we're unmuted. That's not an option. Because again, unless you don't want to grow, you don't have to.
I love the fire. Love the passion.
Just unmute, dude. Oh my gosh.
I love it, man. I'm excited. We're gonna definitely get you on some more trainings, man. But we are definitely trending, my man Drew. So thank you so much, Andrew, for jumping on with us. I love to see it. Love the success early, and you're smoking it, bro. I'm looking forward to seeing what's next, man.
For sure, man. Appreciate you.
God bless y'all for listening. Thank you very much. Thanks, Drew.